This is Lecture 2 in the Hermeneutics course. We're continuing our discussion about observation, the first step. Remember, there are 3 steps: observation, interpretation, application. So let's talk more. Let's think more about observation. To observe is to fully see all that can be seen. We observe. To observe, we look carefully. We look without distraction. We give full attention to what we see. We must thoroughly saturate ourselves with the passage. This is a skill that takes time and practice. At this point, we are not interpreting the text. We're observing it, so that when we finally do interpret the text, our interpretation will be based upon what the text actually says. So let's think about our attitude. The Bible is not boring, but there are boring ways to read the Bible. There are even boring ways to talk about the Bible. Dr. Howard Hendricks at Dallas Seminary used to say, "It's a crime to preach the Bible in a boring way." And if this is true, some of us may be in danger of being arrested. So how do we observe? Of course, we need to begin with prayer. Read the text. Read the text. Read the text. Write your notes about what you see in the text. And don't forget to file those notes carefully. We want to read the text actively. Read the passage as if you've never seen it before. Maybe you read it as a love letter to you. Read it thoughtfully. Concentrate. Read it patiently, realizing it does not give its wisdom to you on your first read. Read it with questions stirring in your mind. Again, read it prayerfully. Read the text with imagination, picturing the things that are being talked about in the passage. Read it regularly, not now and then. Read it with a purpose so that it will influence your life. Read it with hunger because you need this more than you need food. Read the text as a detective. Be a detective as you read the text. What are the clues that this sort of detective looks for? Terms, words used in their context are your clues. Grammar. Sentences are built with verbs and nouns and adjectives and adverbs and prepositions and conjunctions that all connect to each other and relate to each other to bring meaning. Another sort of clue is the structure in general. Paragraphs are built with sentences that relate to one another. Sections are built with paragraphs that relate to one another. Read as if with a telescope as well as with a microscope. If you can't see the whole thing, how will you know how its parts fit together? We will observe the parts of the Bible, the words, the phrases, the sentences, the paragraphs, the sections of a book, and the whole book. But this is not enough. If each part is examined individually, it's not enough. You need to look at the relationships between the parts. There are 2 different kinds of relationships. Those that are written out and declared, and those that are not specifically declared. Those that are written out often use words like and, but, so, because, therefore, even though. But sometimes you just have 2 sentences that are set up next to each other without a but or an and or a therefore, and you need to discover for yourself what's the relationship between the 2 sentences. We observe and then later interpret what are called units of text. A unit of text might be a sentence, nothing smaller than that. Nothing smaller than a sentence conveys meaning. A unit of text might be a paragraph. A paragraph has its meaning. A section is another unit. A whole book is another unit. Whole units must be studied. Never study half a paragraph. Never study half a section. Never study just half a book. You need the whole. We can study all the units that make up the larger unit. Don't break a unit into random pieces again. In order to make better understanding of the section or the unit, you have to study all the parts. Once we understand the meaning of the what you might call subunits, we try to piece them together and discover the meaning of the whole unit. If we understand, for instance, all the sentences of a paragraph, we can understand the whole paragraph. If we understand all the paragraphs in a section, then we can understand the section. And of course, if we can understand all the meaning of all the sections in a book, then we can understand the book. Grammar tells us a great deal about the structure within a sentence. That's what grammar is. Grammar is the structure of a sentence. Grammar doesn't tell us about the structure of a paragraph or a section or a book. Grammar tells us about how the sentence is structured, how it's built. That's grammar. Paragraph is a collection of sentences that are related, connected to each other. The ideas in a proper paragraph are always related to each other, and it's the student's job to discover that relationship. We might ask ourselves questions like, how does this paragraph hold together? What idea unites these sentences into a single paragraph? Why is this a paragraph? Is it two paragraphs or is it one paragraph? A helpful author will sometimes give hints to answer these questions right away in his first sentence. Remember that the verse, the paragraph, the chapter divisions in your Bible were added later by men. Those, even verse divisions, paragraph divisions, are a decision of the translators and the publishers, the typesetters. They're not inspired. You may decide that what is presented in your Bible as a single paragraph is actually two paragraphs, or vice versa.